Hello friends, let's take up gustation. Now taste, it's a short notes for you guys. Hardly you may get 2 marks on the papillas, but primarily it is a short note question. When it comes to taste and learning the physiology of gustation, it's better we have a holistic understanding of the perception of taste, and then with that understanding let's get to see the way with which we are going to structure or we are going to frame our answers for the question. So people, when it comes to the perception of taste, I suggest you have a quick look or you finish the physiology of vision first, so that you will have a basic idea of sensory perceptions and how it is related to ecology and how environment influences the perception of taste and everything. So that this will help your understanding of taste in a much better perceptions, alright, much better ways. So people, at the outset, what is taste? There are chemicals in the nature. It may be in the form of food, it may be in the form of a drink, or it may be in the form of any fluids, it may be in the plants, it may be in the fruits, vegetables. So you take up products of nature, there are certain chemicals which do have a tendency to stimulate a particular cell in our tongue, and that stimulus will be carried over in the form of action potentials to the brain, alright. A cortex called gustatory cortex, situated in anterior insula or frontal operculum. This gustatory cortex, once it receives the action potentials, it creates, alright, it creates a sensation of a taste. So please remember, what is happening in the nature, what is there in the nature, we are not going to exactly perceive it. It's not possible, right? You have plenty of orderance for which many of human beings are blind, oblivious to many of the chemicals, alright. There are plenty of odorants, which we can't able to smell. There are plenty of chemicals that we can't able to taste, alright. So what is happening in nature, what is there in nature is not exactly being perceived. But brain has got a wiring, brain has got a network that do perceive a particular modalities, and certain chemicals can be perceived and we get a sensation of taste. So are we actually sensing the chemicals in nature? No. So reality is different, perception is different, chemicals are different, brain creates certain experiences called taste, and that is different. So please don't think, sugar is sweet, bitter gourd is bitter, not that way, alright. There are chemicals. When these chemicals trigger certain particular cells, these cells produces an action potential, and that chemical energy is being transformed into an electrical energy called action potentials, and that is going to kickstart certain brain regions, and human beings experience a perception called a taste, alright. So that's exactly is what is happening, people. Now here, what are you need to, what are the parameters that you got to know and you got to learn when it comes to understanding gustation, taste. You need to know what are all the chemicals that could able to elicit this experience called the taste. What are all the different kinds of or different subcategories within that experience. Taste is a kind of a broader terminology, right? So you have different classes of that experience: sweet, salt, sour, bitter, right? These are all different classes of experiences. So on first hand, you got to know what are all the stimulating chemicals. Number 2, what are all those experiences? Number 3, how does this energy transfer happens? How does this energy conversion happens? Alright, the neurobiological process behind the taste perception. And number 4, the pathway that carries the signals to the brain. Number 5, cortex, the gustatory cortex. Number 6, the applied aspects of taste. Alright people. So these are all the points that you are expected to know, and these are all the points your examiners, your invigilators, your paper correcting people expects you to be writing that in your answer sheet. Alright. So let's take up chemicals. Alright. At the outset people, let us take up chemicals. There are certain chemicals in nature, and these chemicals do have an ability to trigger taste cells, trigger taste receptors, and taste receptors are also called as taste cells. These chemicals are widely seen in nature. It may be present in food, it may be present in water, it may be present in some kind of content of a fruit or vegetable, like tender coconut, whatever you pick doctors, fluids, naturally present fluids. Alright, so chemicals can be seen everywhere and they are plentiful. Enormous numbers of chemicals do have a tendency to trigger the taste receptors. Alright. But whatever it is, we can able to categorize the chemical stimulation into 5 classes of taste.